What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Chopper Style, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Old Guard. The first half will be spoiler free, and then towards the end, I will get into spoilers. Don't worry, I will warn you before that time happens. Coming into this film, I thought it was going to be a straight action flick. I was kind of skeptical to watch it, heard a couple bad reviews. I don't even know why I listened. I should have just watched it from the beginning. But anyways, man, was I surprised at how good this movie was. Like, yo, this was not just a good action film. It was a good story, good character development. I mean, all the way through. I believe this movie was way better than what people gave it credit for. Charlize Theron playing Andy. She was phenomenal in this movie. I mean, she definitely worked her ass off. She definitely stole the show. I mean, with some of her action scenes, it was by far amazing. All the characters were good in this film, but she definitely stood out from the pack. Going into this movie, I was afraid that it wasn't going to be much to look forward to because these people are immortal. The old guard team, they're all immortal. So I'm thinking, how are they ever going to find their match? How are they ever going to fight someone worthy enough? I mean, if you can't die, what's the point? And going into the film thinking like that, I was totally wrong. I had so much feeling for these characters. Them being immortal felt more like a curse than anything else. Like they were immortal, but it didn't really feel like it a lot of times. The characters had meaning. There were parts where someone could possibly die. I mean, you think there's no trouble that they can possibly run into that's that bad, but it is. I mean, just think of it. Even if you are immortal and you can't die, you can get locked in a prison or something. How can you ever get out? There are ways to where immortal can work against you, and the film does a very, very good job of that. I didn't even know the Old Guard was part of a comic book series. I don't know much about that, but I did read a little bit of it. And yes, it was a little bit different than the movie, but it was not a takeaway at all. One of the things I loved the most about this movie was in a scene where one of the old guards died. Them coming back to life was really, really cool. They didn't just, pop back up like nothing happened. It was almost like Wolverine. They actually would die and then they would slowly come back to life. You see the healing come back. You see, like, if they got shot, you see the bullets come out. And the more damage they took, the longer it would take to heal. So, like, they never just got right back up and got back into action. I love how they made it more realistic. That was so cool. That little bit of detail, it really made it really good. Also, it's rare to find a film that is funny, has drama, has suspense, and it all plays hand in hand. Like some movies are real serious or an action flick, and they'll try to put some funny things in there, and it kind of just won't mix. In this movie, they don't have a ton of funny parts, but when they do have funny parts, it's funny. When they do have, you know, drama parts, it works. Like it's crazy how this film can do so many different things and it never takes away. Like it just rolls with it. It just fit. The pacing of this film was amazing, especially for a movie that is just, this ain't a sequel. This is just part one. Normally, there's a lot of backstory and explanation. And in this one, they explain it almost in real time. They go back a little bit and explain bits and pieces, but it's mostly all things happening in real time. And then when they do go back and tell past histories, it is like you really want to know more about it. It's really, really interesting. I like the way that they connect this film. The only thing I didn't really like about it was the final act of the, big action scene. It wasn't, I thought it could have been better. I'm not going to spoil too much. I thought it could have been better, but still, even after that, what they do, it was still amazing. They still brought it together, and I didn't even care about it. Like the story was way stronger than I expected it to be. Honestly, because of this movie, I'm really thinking about reading the comic book. Like it's that good. I really want to learn more about it and see where this goes. But I'm about to get into the spoiler part. There are some bad things about this movie, but they would have been spoilers, so I had to save it for the end. So you've been warned if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, now to the couple things I didn't like about the film. It's not much, but okay, in the old guard, what they changed from the comics to the film is the fact that old guards can actually die. Now, I don't know if the comics if any of them actually do die, but the main character Andy, she does not lose her powers in the comic book. And in this one, they explain losing your powers or losing the ability to come back to life. I guess happens with age. That's the only thing I'm guessing. I guess sometimes it just runs out, for no reason. So I'm guessing once you've lived long enough, it runs out. And she was the oldest of the crew, and she winds up losing her powers. Okay, that's understandable. But all the rest of them aren't as old as her. And there were a couple times throughout the film where a character would die and they would be scared that they wouldn't come back to life. And it's like sometimes they would be super scared, and then other times, like when they're in an action scene, they don't care about getting shot. Oh, they're gonna heal and all that. And it's like it was very inconsistent. Like, come on now, you know, if he just the person just died a scene ago, and you think that this time's gonna be any different, like they didn't treat it the same. Sometimes they were worried, and sometimes they didn't give a damn. I just thought that was weird. The final scene or battle, I didn't like it much because there was no threat. I mean, the whole movie, the action scenes were way over the top. I mean, they were amazing. Charlize with those two axe weapons or whatever you want to call them, she was doing work with them. I mean, even when she lost her powers, she was still doing work. Like she was a beast. I mean, she did mostly all the fighting. So I'm thinking when I get to the end of the film, it's gonna be some raw, big ass battle. I just wanted to see them do some work. Even if they didn't have an enemy that could hurt them, I just wanted to see them whoop some ass. And they skipped over a lot of the fight scenes. She did the work and you didn't even see it. And then the final dude, he was holding one of her axes, like, and he was some scientist. He wasn't gonna do nothing. And it's like, he at least give him a gun. You give him a weapon that looks like it was too heavy for him, and he don't even know how to use it. He posed zero threat to them, and like even when they wind up killing him at the end, I felt like it was over the top. Like you could have just kicked him off the roof. To kick him off the roof and jump with him, to like there was no need for all that in my opinion. I felt like they could have done that whole end scene better. Like the best action scenes were all of them before this last one. The last one's supposed to be the best, not the worst. But even then, action, it wasn't terrible. I expected a little bit more of a dramatic battle. But the reason that I looked past those flaws in the film is just because the story was just so strong. Andy, she is like, they never said how old she is, but just think this girl is stupid old, probably thousands of years old. She's done nothing but fought battle after battle after battle, and she's learned how many different fighting styles. Like how her intelligence when it comes to fighting is more than anybody. Like she has all those years of experience, thousands of years. So it would explain why she's such a badass. And then, like towards the end of the film, when you find out, like, because they felt like they didn't know their purpose, why are they here? They kind of didn't know because they didn't really show a lot of backstory. But at the end, when they are showing, like, they made marks in history, the people that they saved were people that went on to do extraordinary things to save humanity or to, create some type of vaccine for a virus. Like, it was cool how they connected something that, how they connected their immortality and always helping out and trying to do the right thing to actual history. That was crazy. I did not see something like that coming. I love that. That's like, wow, they have a big ass meaning. They're not just some immortals just doing work for no reason. Throughout the whole movie, you feel bad for these characters. It felt like immortality was a curse. I mean, just think, everyone that you make friends with, your family, your loved ones, you're going to have to see them die over and over again. Not the same people, but anyone you care for. Like, how many times are you going to see someone you care about die? So they tend to just stick with each other. And it just like you really it felt bad for them. Like, man, it was sad. And by the end of the movie, for them to feel like they were so important, it gave them the biggest meaning of all. And they have something to work towards now. And it was so cool to see that. But let's talk about the ending, yo. Andy's best friend, I guess they fought back in battle thousands of years ago. Quinn, she was cursed, and they knew that she couldn't die and all that. So they took her, locked her in some type of mummification thing, and just threw her in the water. And just knowing she's at the bottom of the ocean, drowning, waking up and drowning again, or not waking up, dying and drowning again. Oh, how many years and years and years was she doing that? And Andy was trying to find her. She was trying to look for her for I don't know how many years. She couldn't find her. And Quinn doesn't know if she was trying to find her or not. She felt like she left her for dead all those years, wondering why no one saved her. Well, she pops up at the end of the film. You have no idea if she's going to be good, if she's going to be bad, if she's going to team up with the crew. But according to the comics, she's coming back for a vengeance. She is pissed. And that would lead to a great sequel. They have an enemy to fight that has the same powers as them, that knows all that stuff. So it's going to be crazy to see how the next film is going to go. I mean, you really can't look in the comics and say it's going to be the same thing, but they are definitely setting it up for her to be evil. And I cannot wait to see it. But this is my review on The Old Guard. If you would like, leave a comment, subscribe, share if you like. Chopper Style out.